Yeah. So for those of you who do not know, or who are still crying into their soy mocha lattes. Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed to the Supreme Court. Like actually, like confirmed, he is now Supreme Court Justice, Associate Justice.
Yeah. So see, the way I would have transitioned in another great weekend news, yeah, Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed.
Right. Well, we were stuck on like combos, and so I was trying to like
Oh, that's true. Okay,
I was trying to fit it in that way,
got
but
it.
all right.
So
Well, it was completely blundered. So let's just go. Let's just keep going.
yeah. So, anyways, I have a celebratory beer for Brett Kavanaugh.
Yes.
It's about damn time that after the kangaroo court that he was forced to go through, that the injustice that was done to him and his family.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see him finally get confirmed, and he stood his ground. And it was also kind of I don't know if you heard President Trump's words. I don't know if it was like Saturday or Sunday when he spoke out, saying of kind of finalizing talking about the confirmation. And it's like, man, it's a sad state of affairs of what happened to him. And, I apologize for all the crap that he went through. And, kind of how it's sad that we're now we're moving towards a country of people that are it's no longer innocent until proven guilty, and how that's kind of a sorry detriment. And so it's kind of, I'm kind of really glad that we have a president with a backbone now, because I think any other president would have just would have given up on Kavanaugh and
Well, I think.
we'll
I
just
think
choose
one of
somebody.
the good things about Trump is that he does have that spine, and I think a little bit of that nerve is being transmitted to Republican senators and congressmen.
Oh
Because,
man, there's a
because I
couple
mean,
that
like
were
you had like that
so
great speech by Lindsey Graham, who I didn't
man.
like, I never really followed, but what, like some of the things that I have heard about him have made me kind of like shake my head. But during the last hearing, when he just went like, and he just went off on the Democratic senators, and just calling them, calling them to the carpet. I was like, holy crap! This guy actually has like a set.
Yeah, and
But again,
because
like I think like because I think because the president stands up to like the press, and all other the other like politicians. I think it's given again that nerve that the president has, is I think definitely being transmitted to you know the other like Republican senators and congressmen.
it is very nice to see um, conservatives finally stand their ground
Mm-hmm.
now. And because at best, Lindsey Graham was kind of a milquetoast, kind of nothing conservative.
Right. I mean,
But
I
now
think
that
what I've heard is that he basically did whatever John McCain said to do.
pretty much,
Like I mean, like whatever, like whichever way John McCain was voting, that it more than likely that's the way Lindsey Graham would vote.
yeah, and
But
it
I mean,
just
since like
it
but
was
since his passing, like I guess like he's now like free to do his own thing and like be his own man, and it's pretty great. I mean, that speech was just epic. Just calling hitting the nail on the head. Just getting everything right. You know,
yeah.
like
Mitch McConnell's been pretty great too. He's had some epic speeches recently, and comments concerning the everything that's been going on. And I don't remember if it was him or Lindsey Graham, but like there was something that I think it was just before the vote to see if they were going to vote to confirm, kind of the vote before the vote.
Right. To put the vote onto the floor of the Senate.
Yeah, and it was funny because he was getting booed during that whole time, and he's like, "Oh, boo yourself."
Right.
I could be remembering that wrong, but of like when that occurred. But I believe that was the time, and I believe it was Mitch McConnell that said that. It was just fucking hilarious, and it's like, damn, like it's really nice to see.
Yeah, and what is it? Yeah, there's another video of Lindsey Graham as he was like leaving, I think, his office or whatever, and like these two women were just like, like berating him, saying like, oh, like how could you vote for that monster or whatever, and he's like, and they're like saying like, oh, we're gonna vote you out, and he's like kind of like. He's like, well, he's like, yeah, come, move to South Carolina. You're more than welcome to. It's like kind of like, and like, he just kind of like turns back at them, and then there's another like guy who's like filming this thing, and he's like fixing his tie, kind of like almost gave. I think maybe I'm misremembering, but it almost feels like he gave like a little wink to the as he was fixing his tie to the camera guy.
Yeah.
But I think that was like a perfect thing. It's like, yeah, you want to vote? He's like, you want to vote me out? Then you have to live in South Carolina, so you're free to move there.
Yeah, and it's just there was that, and then he had like the two raging feminazis attack him, and saying it's like, well, how can you do this? And it's like, well, maybe I'll talk to you guys when you grow up. And like they freaked out, and it's like, why don't you grow up? And it was like, okay, he's old. Like he's
he is grown up,
and he's not a raving lunatic. When he is trying to get his points across. And it's like, and then it's like, it was just nice as the elevator doors were closing. He's just giving them a bye.
Yeah, I mean, what should have taken like confirmation, what should have taken like only a couple of days, this has been prolonged and delayed for like a few weeks, I believe.
Yeah, and it's just I think they were trying to postpone it as long as possible, hopefully past the midterms to see what would happen. That was definitely their strategy, and it didn't work. Yeah. Thank God.
And it's funny because people gave Senator Jeff Flake shit for having that caveat to like his yes vote or whatever, but it was funny because it actually kind of helped. Brett Kavanaugh and the Republicans, because some more information came out, like the testimony, the under oath testimony, by the way, of one of Christine Ford's ex-boyfriends, and how he's basically he said under oath that's like, oh, we used to go traveling all the time on planes, and she never mentioned anything about any assault on her when she was like in high school, and she coached a friend to who was interviewing for the FBI to pass a polygraph test.
Yeah, even Jeff Flake couldn't deny. He's like, well, I can't vote no on this, so he ended up voting yes, which I was kind of surprised by.
Yeah, which is great. And it's kind of funny, like he's Jeff Flake, as much as like the guy freaking annoys me. As much as he annoys me, he was actually kind of like the undercover hero of this story.
It's like, well, at least in some cases, he's at least willing to, he's hey, with the fact, he's like, well, the FBI investigation is very thorough. a lot of information came out, and I had to vote yes on confirming him. I was like, all right, maybe it's one of those things where even a dog gets a crumb every once in a while if you hang out under the table. But I think he had this one right.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it was he was fully cucked. When he was cornered in the elevator by like those screeching women. And just like the truly pathetic look he had on his face. When he was being berated by them, and oh, I'm a survivor. How dare you, deny that I was, assaulted or raped or whatever. It's just like, I forget who said it, but then, they're like kind of, playing, if I was in that situation, they would have said like, well, all right, then you bring, go make your statement to the police, let them investigate, let them find the evidence, and then come back to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you could scream you can scream about like your assault all you want, and I'm again, oh God, I hate having to say this. We're not for like men or like people skating on like on assault charges or anything, but there has to be evidence.
We aren't.
I know. Did you not get the memo, Robert?
I know, right? Gosh.
I
was at that secret meeting where we were talking about that.
Oh yeah, the double secret meeting.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we all hate rape, but then we'll just say that we'll just be apologists for it, even though we really hate rape.
Yeah.
But
it's just.
Yeah, I mean, because again, I want to talk, bring up Juanita Broderick, because like at least she had like a witness, like right after it happened. Like there was a woman that she was traveling with that found her, like that saw her like bloody lip and like and torn clothes.
Corroborate her story, and her story did not change.
Exactly, like she didn't say like, oh, I think he did, I think we met here. No, it was this day. Or
this hotel.
There was like there's like 5 maids and a pool boy in the room. No, no wait, there was a busser and a bellhop. Things like that. The details didn't change. And again, there was a corroborating witness. Not to like of the rape, but of the condition that Juanita Broderick was found in.
Right. Well, and here's the thing with that too, is she had very good reason not to come public, because the Clintons have a trail of bodies behind them. Let's be honest.
True.
There's but she didn't like just not tell anyone. She told her friends, of course.
Right.
Her friends continued to corroborate her story when it did finally go public.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also a slew of other people who came forward that had similar instances with Bill Clinton that were also very credible as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you have to start saying, like, okay, maybe this there's a lot to this, that maybe these things happen. Similar with the the Roy Moore thing, who from the
Alabama. Senate race.
Yeah, it was the Senate race, and but yeah, there was kind of a similar situation where there was a lot of things that were there, and there was enough people too that had similar stories that weren't just making stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And but in this case, not only did like her story keep changing and all the details, which I thought maybe a little bit boorish, but it was, Trump was making fun of that. It's like, what time? I don't know. When? I don't know. And then it's just all these, I don't knows, and the story kept changing. Mm-hmm. So there was that. And then her supposed friends didn't say, like, not only did this party not occur, I've never met this guy before.
Yeah, and from her supposedly lifelong best friend.
you have the boyfriend who was like, none of this happened. Nothing was ever said to me. And this whole like I'm afraid of flying and claustrophobia, that was never true, because we went all over the place and none of this ever came up. So it just, and then like what, as I was saying last week, is all the people that came after Ford were even less credible. I mean,
like
maybe
the
that's
Sputnik
also
chick. That Sputnik chick
Yeah,
with
I
like
think
what is like the 3 or 5 lawsuits against her for sexual misconduct or something, or sexual harassment.
yeah, like where she, and
Yeah, but then like she
was
also
found,
like
that
yeah, and then she was also like walking back her statement, like in that NBC interview where she's like, if Brett Kavanaugh did this to me, it's like, what do you mean if? You said that it happened. Now you're saying that if it happened, like now you're like posing the question like, oh, if this happened, then he's still a monster. It's like, what do you mean if? You said that it happened. You said that he wagged his wang in your face. You said that he was,
Exactly.
that you said that you were at 10 different parties where you were certain that they were, gang raping girls and like running trains on them.
Never
And
happened.
I mean, like, and what kind of person keeps going to those parties?
Oh yeah, and like she went to all 10 of them.
Yeah, like she
My
and she
God.
kept going to those parties, like knowing, like, either like really stupid, or just like being like blissfully oblivious of the fact that she could have been, next.
Yeah, and some people have said that like they believe something happened to Christine Ford and all this stuff. I might be one of the minorities that said I don't think a damn thing happened to her. I think it was all fabric.
I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt, but like since all of this other like stuff, like, especially with like the ex-boyfriend like testimony, like now I'm just like, now you're just a liar.
That to me solidified my position. I think the whole thing was bullshit. It was fabricated, and nothing happened to her.
Right, and I mean, and like it was like my willingness to offer some sort of concession was made even more tenuous, after hearing her like testify, in front of the Judiciary Committee, with that completely coached performance, like with like the vocal fry and like, talking like a little girl, and
Oh yeah,
it was just, just like, God, this is a liar. Because like again, like they try to do 2 different things when they really should have only concentrated on doing one. Either one, make her the victim, like make her this helpless little like lamb, or 2, make her a competent person. Because like, could you imagine her, like, she's a professor, she teaches in front of young people, and one thing I've learned, teaching young people, especially like elementary age, you cannot show weakness. You cannot show weakness in front of them. All right, you show like the slightest bit that you are immortal, you are not a god, then they will eat you alive.
Absolutely.
And that's like 10, like that's like 100-fold for college students. You can't like come in there and be like this meek little lamb and expect to gain the respect and confidence of these of these college kids. They're like they come into class and they hear you say your first words, and like, I'm paying how much for this?